Well, while surfing YouTube, I found a YouTube channel, Draw Sessions. This guy's outstanding when it comes to drawing out critters. And he happened to be sketching this little critter here. And I asked him if I could go ahead and sculpt it. And he said, have fun with it. So we're going to go with that today. Alright, we'll start with the basic armature. Here, get some wire and some aluminum foil. Get that all bundled up, and then cover it up with some clay and work off of that. Alright, well, we're figuring out his stance and how he's going to be holding himself, and figure out which direction the tail is going to go, if it's going to come out right, and get it all centered and built up. As I'm building up his hip, I'm trying to picture out where all the muscle tone's going to go, and the coordinating where the arm's going to start at, make sure that I got the right angles for that. I'm also going to try and figure out, make sure that he's balanced so he can stand on his own. Well, after I got started with this and got a little bit into it, I decided to go check out his home page and his Instagram. And he's got some really detailed sketches out there, and from the looks of it, I picked one of the more easier and simpler projects, but I might go back and try one of his other critters if I can. As you can see, I kind of bounce around from legs, but we're working on the arms now. Put in a little bit of detail. Once I like it, I go ahead and throw it in the oven and bake it. And over the course of sculpting this, I probably bake this 30-40 times. Alright, well, looks like he's a little tippy, but it looks like I can get it spread out enough to where he can stand on his own. Here, making sure the proportions are right, make sure that I can get the both sides looking symmetrical again. And here I'm putting a little bit of clay softener on there and getting ready to put some more fresh clay on there. It helps, that clay softener helps make it a little bit more tacky, so where the new clay sticks to it. Now I'm building up a little bit of muscle tone, since this is a different kind of structure, but you know, most legs pretty much have to push and pull, so you got the muscles and ligaments and tendons and stuff, they're all pretty much in the same place, but you still got to figure out the orientation for this. The skeletal system is just a little bit different on here, so. Alright, well, we figured out where the placement of the tail is going to be. Now I'm going to get this little nub here all blended in so it's seamless. Now on this YouTube channel, the artist that's on there with Draw Sessions, his name is Bobby, and he does a pretty good job in tutorials, so there's a lot of things in there if you're into that kind of stuff and want to learn how to draw. He does cover all the basics and in the advanced stuff, as you can see with his drawings. So, and a lot of things have to apply the same as in sculpting. So when he's sitting there drawing, it's like get the basic shapes in before you start working on all the details. And he does bounce around from place to place, and it keeps himself interested in what he's doing. But the same thing goes on with the clay. First you get the bulking up, you get the basic form in, then you go in and start working on the details. And you can see where I'm going at it. I'm bouncing all over the place too, trying to keep myself interested in it and bring parts alive. Alright, now you can see that we got the legs and the basic shape and the form, what his stance is going to be like, and now I start working on his facial details and get that mouth in there, figure out where his eyes are going to be, his nose are going to be. Alright, now we're going to start blending it all in, make it look like his lower lips comes up, and it's seamless. Alright, going to start using my thumb here. It's one of the best rakes in the game for clay. Once I get it all smoothed out here, we'll add a little bit of clay softener in there, rub it down, get it all smooth, get all those tool marks and thumbprints off of it. And while I'm doing it, I'm thinking about, what is this critter? Where does he live? What does he eat? How does he move? Well, it looks like we got the eyes in place. I don't know what happened to the video that showed me put it in there. I can't seem to find it. So, well, here we are. I'm going to start putting in the eyelids and squinting it down and get some character built into this. Well, I've been sculpting with clay, this polymer clay, for about 5 years now, and it's coming along pretty good. It takes time to build up the skill, but the funny story is I actually started about 15 years ago, and I was curious to see if I could do anything with it. I picked up a block of firm modeling clay, and I had sculpted a dinosaur leg, put all the detail in the muscles and the muscle tone and the folded skin and around the knees and the ankles and stuff, and a nice foot and claws, and it turned out pretty nice. And the thing is I ended up putting that clay down and not picking it up for another 10 years after that. I thought it was kind of maybe a fluke, a one-time thing, and I didn't want to prove to myself that I couldn't do it, so I left it there, being impressed with myself with what I had done. And I kind of kicked myself in the tail now, because the 10 years added to this skill, and no telling where I'd be at by now. My shelves would probably be full of critters by now. But if you want to do something and you try it, or don't hold back is what I'm saying, and stick with it, go at it. If you have curiosity to try something new, jump on it. Alright, looks like we got that one done. Let's get the other one done off camera. Alright, now that we got the mouth done, we're going to get his fangs. I'm not going to go too crazy with the teeth. Just a couple of fangs sticking out from the bottom, and get those details in. Now, the original drawing and sketches that he did, and the nose was a little bit more blunt, so I got it protruding a little bit further out and give it a little different character. Try and even out the nostrils here. Alright, so we're going to put some extra skin or stretched marks in his gullet here, so it's stretched out, make him look like maybe he's a little bit older, more of a mature critter. Alright, well that looks pretty good. And a little further on, once I get the more detail into the chest and everything, I'll kind of run those down into it, kind of blend it all in. Alright, well, looking at the drawing, the feet are going to be quite the challenge, so just going to have to bear all that weight, so I don't think I can use just clay. So we're going to go ahead and get some wire armature in there, glue it really good, and then we'll add the clay onto that. Alright, well I started with this wire. I think it's just a little bit too thick of a gauge, so it's the right shape, but I think I'm going to go with a lighter wire, a little floral wire. It's a little bit thinner gauge. Here we go. Alright, let's get it covered in clay so we have a base to which we can put our details on. And we're going to put a little clay softener on here, make it stick a little bit better. Kind of looks like a reverse woman's shoe, high heel shoe. Alright, well we got that baked and a little bit more detail on there. You can see kind of the tendons and a little bit extra skin coming through there. And I guess you would call it a toe. Alright, and we're going to add the ankle bone in here and some more tendons off there, try and get some more detail into it. And of course I'm going to have to reproduce this over on the other foot, but alright, getting some more detail in there and smoothing it out. Make sure that I use this clay softener with a brush there and get all the tool marks, make it look all natural. Alright, let's get in here and drill a hole for the tail. Get a little armature wire in there, then get some clay on it. Probably should wait a little bit. It actually gets in the way when I want to do the extra skin on the hind end there. Now when I put that wire in there, I've already drilled the hole, and then I'll put some bacon bond inside and then put a little bit of piece of clay on the outside, kind of help it keep it in place as I'm sizing it out. Alright, got that all set up, got some clay put on it. I'm going to go ahead and throw it in the oven, bake it again, so it's a little bit more firmer. I can build up on it later. Now when you put something in there with this soft clay and you bake it so many times, to avoid getting a flat spot, I put a little paper towel in there. It kind of keeps that texture. Alright, so I add the extra skin there, kind of bring it all in together. Of course I got to do the same thing on the other side. So let's get that detail in. Alright, so I get the clay position in the right place, then I bring in the little rubber tool there and just kind of spread the edges in, blend it all in, and make sure that it's even. And get rid of all the seams, and then wipe it down really good with some clay softener and remove any of the tool marks. Alright, looks good and looks even. Where it's supposed to be anyways. Leg placements and stuff, so looking good. Alright, we're going to start adding muscle in here, kind of even up the sides, make sure it looks symmetrical. Big word. And then we tie it all in together. Once the arm gets bulked out and finished getting built, we'll start adding the skin in there. And now I'm kind of comparing the sides where we're going to need to fill in, bulk it up. I know I still have a lot of flesh we got to add onto that arm, so it'll be okay. But also makes it a little more difficult with all these arms to try and get in there and blend it the way you need it. But it just takes time. You got to do it. Yeah, looking at the space between the pecs there, gonna have to bring it in a little bit together, trying to decide what's the best way. Going to be sharp edges or going to be more rounded? Alright, now I'm trying to figure out where the extra skin is, or if there's any tendons going to be showing, extra muscles. The skeleton on this animal is just a little bit different, but it makes it more fun. I think that's the thing with anything that you do, sculpting or drawing, pottery, or just putting beads together, having fun at it if it's something that you really like. Alright, looks like that texture is coming together. I'm trying to keep the skin fairly smooth, but put all the stretch marks in it where the muscles are at, and where the arms have got to spread out and come together, not bunched up. Alright, well, we're at the hands now, so decided that we're going to go with just 2 fingers, a little bit meaty, something that padded, something he can feed himself with. Alright, and then we're going to add some knuckles on there. Once we get the fingers on, just get the main base, and usually I wait and bake that where they're nice and firm so I can go ahead and push those knuckles on there. And then we just add a little bit of clay on each one of the top of the joints and then spread it out so we get that definition. Alright, well, I add a little bit of clay here, kind of build up the palm of the hand, so the little fleshy part, and usually a little padding on most animals have right in their palm. Alright, looks like we got all the proportions right, and then I'm going to try and keep this forearm as skinny as I can, still have some detail in it. Alright, well, it's still a little bit tippy here, so I'm going to have to spread out its stance, and that means I'm going to have to break the leg. Alright, well, put a few drips of clay softener in there, kind of a lubricant, and we put some bacon bond, kind of fill in the crack and get that good adhesion, and then fill in the rest of it with clay, blend it all in, and bake it. Yeah, and there'll be a little bit more of adjustment that I gotta do, kind of touch it up, make sure the muscles are lined up and doesn't look all funky. Alright, to stay in character, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of clay in between the forearm and the bicep, kind of a little bit of webbing, extra skin. Get that little bit of clay down there. You got some clay softener on there, so your rubber tool just kind of slides across it, kind of pushes it, pulls it a little bit. Just little movements, kind of blend it all in. Get rid of the seams once again and the tool marks once we get it all finished. Alright, now we'll do the same thing over here on the other arm. Get that all brushed out and bake it. Alright, we're on the final stretch of getting all the details in here. We're going to do the underbelly. The extra skin and folds and stuff, as you see it now, it's kind of a little bit bunched up, but you kind of picture you want that extra flexibility. So if he's walking and making big strides, it's stretching out tight and it's punching up. So we'll get that all in, get those wrinkles and folds in. Add a little bit of clay in and smooth off the sides, and then brush it out with some clay softener. And then you've seen in Bobby's video when he's drawing this critter, sketching it out, and one of the final details that he puts in there is little bumps and little warts and stuff, and so we're going to get that taken care of too. And most of it was done off screen here, so my bad. It looks like we got enough. Alright, figuring out the color for this critter. What do we want to go with? Something that's going to blend in with the background, going to stand out and be flashy. Let's get a base coat on him. We'll start with brown. Now the clay that I'm using is Super Sculpting Living Doll, and the paints that I'm using are the Vallejo. I do use a little bit of cos clay on there for the flexibility of the fingers. I'm just kind of making it up as I go, figuring out what the pattern can be. Once we get all the painting done, then I go ahead and give it a good varnish spray. I want it nice and shiny, wet look. Yeah, one of the features that he adds to this is he has little spiky things coming out of the bulbous of the tail, so we're going to drill some holes into that and we're going to add that feature. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these feathers here, we're going to strip them down until they're just the spine there, clip them to the size that we want. They're real rigid. You can use them for, you know, spikes on critters or whiskers, or, and they're really durable, so don't have to worry about breaking them off. Alright, about 10 more of those and we'll be set. And at the end of this I got a little sequence of animations done by AI, so take a look at those. No real pattern, just kind of putting them anywhere. Alright, well, we're going to put them in, make sure they're distributed really good, make sure there's no real voids, and then we're going to be using Mr. Resin, and what I'll do is I'll dip the tip into it, stick it into the hole, and then hold in front of the UV light and get it all secure. Then we'll touch it up with some paint, make sure there's no white showing through, and we should be good to go. Alright, that looks pretty gnarly. After this, I'll go ahead and hit it with another spray, get that tail finished up, cover up all that paint, get it all nice and fluid. Alright, well that turned out pretty good. Fun little project. It's always nice to give yourself a challenge, trying to figure out how this is going to work out, going as close as you can to the actual drawing of somebody or yourself. I appreciate you joining me. If you liked it, hit the like button, subscribe, and throw in some comments down below. Appreciate it. Thank you.